So how's this going to help us? So here's something else that we can do. Another way that we can use arrays. See here how we declared 4 secret colors for each of our colors in the secret code? Well, we got 4 of the same kind of object, and we're even numbering them. Secret 1, secret 2, secret 3, secret 4. Wouldn't it be nice if we just put those in an array? Okay, so let's do that. So instead of all these secret guys, I'm going to delete them. And I'm going to create an array of secret colors. Private will be another color array. We use square brackets again to tell it that it's an array. I'm just going to call it secret. Use the new keyword to create the array. Okay. And if you don't want to initialize it right now, you don't have to. Okay? In fact, I kind of don't right now. I want to do it in the constructor. However, there's a problem. C# doesn't know what size of an array I have. In fact, it even says right here. The error that I'm getting right now is array creation must have array size or array initializer. So either I list all of the items in the array in curly braces when I initialize it, or I need to specify inside the square brackets right here. You can specify how large this array is going to be. And you specify it by telling it how many elements the array is going to have. Once you define an array to have a certain number of elements, you cannot change that without completely recreating the array. So, but I'm not going to need to recreate the array. I know that the secret code would always have 4 elements, so I'm going to type a 4 here. Okay. What are the indices of these elements? They'll be 0, 1, 2, and 3. Right? The last index is always 1 less than the size of the array. So how are we going to use this? Well, first thing I'm going to do is in our mastermind constructor, I am going to call the a new button handler. What that's going to do is it's going to call this function that will generate a new secret code. Okay, so instead of having a secret code that we have at the beginning that's always the same, that's not randomly generated, we're going to even have the very first secret code be randomly generated. We're going to guarantee that it's randomly generated by calling it in our class constructor. If you remember from a while ago, the constructor is a function that is called when the form is first created, which means when you start the application, when you start running the program. So after this initialize component call, I am going to call the btn new click handler. Now you're thinking, huh? How can you call a button's click handler without it being clicked? Well, it's just a function. And so we can always call any function we want from inside our code. So the click handler is just another function that Windows just so happen to also be able to call when you click the button. Well, we can do that anytime. So by doing this, we're essentially clicking the button, even though the user is not going to see the button actually be clicked. And it takes some arguments here, right? it takes a sender and an event args. Okay, now when you call the function yourself, you have to specify, you have to give it the same arguments that Windows would give it when the button's clicked. Okay, so because it's button new, so remember the sender is the control that was clicked when that function is called. So the control for this function is button new. So I'm going to pass it button new. And for the event args, we're not using that at all. So I'm just going to create a new event args. Nothing in it. Okay. So this is how you call a button click handler from inside your code. It's just a function. Okay? So this will generate a new secret code the very first time that we start the program. So we know that we're starting off with a valid secret code. Okay? Now let's go back down here, because our code here has changed. We no longer have these variables, secret 1, secret 2, secret 3. We now have an array of secret values. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to replace, and it's also called secret, but I'm going to replace this with this. What does this do? This says create a random number, get the color whose index is that number, and store it in index 0 of array secret. Okay, so imagine this. We have two arrays. We have one array that has our 6 colors that we can choose from. That's called colors. And we have another array that's called secret that will contain the 4 color secret combination. And we take one item from the 6 color array and copy it into one of the locations of our secret code. Really, it's just like each color in the colors array is a bin of colored pegs, and we take one colored peg from one of those bins and we place it inside our secret code array. Can you envision that? Okay, I'm going to do the same thing for the other 3 elements. Okay. So now our code is getting more and more compact and easier to read. Okay? We're doing a lot of things with these arrays. We're avoiding all of this logic here with the if, else's, and switches and all that kind of stuff. We're avoiding a lot of that code just because we're using arrays. So let's make sure this works. Got more errors. Secret 1 does not exist in the current context. I forgot something. Let's see. Where are you? Ah. Our button cheat. That's easily fixable. And I was using secret 1 through 4. And now I have to use secret index 0 through index 3, right? Okay. So, I'm going to cheat. We've already generated a new code, so this ought to be the first one anyway. First one that we had before. Yep, and it is. Generate new code. Alright, very nice.